हाय माय डियर फ्रेंड्स, कैसे हो सब। और पढ़ाई कैसे चल रहा है। होपफुली सब कुछ ठीक ठाक। So in the last class we discussed or we started the topic infinite series, and we discussed the basic when my series will be convergent, when it will be divergent, and also if you remember we discussed one small thing. If n is a series and limit n tends to infinity, n not equal to 0, then my series is divergent. And if it is equal to 0, then it may be convergent or divergent. Hopefully you remember this one. So let's solve one example based on this. Suppose my series is summation of cos 1 by n, and n from 1 to infinity. So what you have to check? Just check the limit of nth term. What is the nth term here? Here this is my nth term. So check limit n tends to infinity cos 1 by n. See here, if you put infinity in place of n, you will get cos 1 by infinity. Means cos 1 by infinity means cos 0. Cos 0 is 1, which is not equal to 0. So my series is divergent. Clear? Very simple thing. Let's consider another example. Suppose my series is n minus 1 by n square plus 1. Suppose my series is like this. So just take limit n tends to infinity, and here my an is this one. Limit n tends to infinity n minus 1 divided by n square plus 1. So if you will put infinity in place of n, what you will get? You will get infinity by infinity. You will get infinity by infinity form. So if you are getting infinity or infinity by infinity or 0 by 0 form, then blindly apply L'Hopital's rule. Means you have to differentiate with respect to n, both in numerator and denominator. So what will you get? Limit n tends to infinity 1 by 2n. I just differentiate with respect to n. So now put infinity in place of n. What will you get? You will get as 0. Then what? Then this series will be convergent or divergent? You can't say anything, because if it is coming at 0, then it may be convergent, then it may be divergent. And what about this series? How can we know? So many mathematicians are there. They found out some test. Don't feel horror movie by listening the word test. This is not your class test. You will enjoy this test for sure. So let's start the first test, named as comparison test. So my first test is comparison test. देखो ये जो नेम है ना कंपैरिजन, ये कंपैरिजन नेम देख के मुझे कुछ याद आ रहा है। तुमको याद है क्या? जब हम जेई का रिजल्ट आ रहा था और कोई 12th का रिजल्ट, फिर हमारा पेरेंट्स लोग क्या बोल रहे थे? अरे वो जो दीपक अंकल है ना, उनका बेटा का इतना मार्क है, तेरा क्यों इतना घटिया है? यस, means I am not focusing on that. I am saying they were comparing us with any other. Yes, means these things is clear. For comparison we need at least two things. Is it? And also comparison कब आता है? जब कोई एक पर्सन का लेस मार्क और अनदर पर्सन का ज्यादा मार्क होगा. Yes, if someone score less, another score more mark, then only comparison will come. The similar case here also. Suppose series. Here I have to test the convergentness or divergentness of a series. So as the name suggests, it is comparison. How much series I need? At least I need two series. Yes, and there must be some relation between them. Suppose an is a series and bn is a series. Why an bn? देखो, जब भी हम कुछ रैंडम वेरिएबल लेते हैं ना, इधर एक्स वाई जेड और ए बी सी, ये तो हमको गार्ड आके बताए थे ना, जब भी कुछ रैंडम लेना है यही ले जाओ. अच्छा, so my two series है summation of an 1, another is summation of bn. There must be some relation, and these are of course from 1 to infinity, n from 1 to infinity. And I am assuming some relation, this one should be less, another should be more. Let's say my an is less than equal to bn. This is not for all n. For all n greater than equal to m, only for m. And some people might think I say only if it is less or more, then only you can compare. But why you put here equal sign? बेटा देखो ये जो सीरीज है ना, there are infinite terms are there. If some terms equal, then what is the problem? Nothing. There are infinite terms. Yes. So see here, what is this meaning? An less than equal to bn. I also explained, I think, in one of my previous video. That means suppose m, let's say my m is 20. That means every term of this series is less than the corresponding term of this series. Yes, after all n greater than equal 20. That means a20 is less than equal to b20, a21 is less than equal to b21, a22 less than equal to b22. It will continue like this. Hopefully it is clear to you. Achha, now come to convergent or divergent, means my series will converge or diverge. Okay, so before going to that, let's understand by an example. Okay, I have this. Can you see this? I have two things in my two hand. This things is looking big, this things is looking small. Is it? Achha dekho, have you seen this? So I am putting it down. Let's see, suppose the length of this wattle is finite, means you can measure this length. So then can you measure the length of that small thing that I shown you before? Yes, you can measure, because if the length of this big thing is finite, then the length of that small thing is also finite. Clear na? So let's do, suppose this is the small things that I have shown you. Suppose I am closing it to the camera. Yes. Now can you say what is the length of this small thing? No. Can you say? No, na? So if this small thing's length is not finite, then the big thing that I have shown you, then this big thing is also, this big thing's length you can't also measure. If the small thing's length is not measurable, how can you measure the length of this big thing? This what I said. My first point, if the big thing length is finite or my big series is convergent, then my small will be convergent. And if my small things length is not finite, means not convergent or divergent, then my big series will divergent. Hopefully it is clear. So let me write here. That means if my big will converge, then my small will also converge. And if my small will diverge, my big will diverge. If Bn is convergent, my An will convergent. Second point, if An is divergent, then my Bn will diverge. Clear? Let's do some example based on this. Suppose my series is summation of root n minus root n minus 1. And when we'll solve problem, here I assume an and bn. You can compare an with bn or bn with an. That is up to you. But when solving numericals, only an will be given. You have to find that bn. Like our comparison, मीन्स हमको किसके साथ कंपैरिजन किया जाता है, वो तो हमारा पेरेंट्स के ऊपर डिपेंड करता है ना, किसी को चुने, दीपक अंकल के बेटा. यस. So here an is given, you have to find that bn. So what is my an here? My an is root n minus 1 is. So I told you once, whenever you will see the term like this, just multiply its conjugate. What is conjugate? The conjugate of a minus b is a plus b, and conjugate of a plus b is a minus b. So multiply its conjugate both in numerator and denominator. So what you will get? Root n plus root n minus 1. If you will multiply, what you will get in numerator? Numerator you will get 1. Is, see here, can I write my an is greater than n minus 1? So my root n is greater than root n minus 1. Then if I add root n, can I write 1 by 2 root n? Can I write 1 by 2 root n is less than 1 by root n? Root n minus 1. So I can write now this is greater than 1 by 2 root n. Understood? Understood? See, this series is divergent. How I know? In the last class we discussed about P series. If you don't forget, see, what is my P series? 1 by n to the power p. This series is convergent if and only if my p is greater than 1. See here, what is p? Here my p is 1 by 2, which is less than 1. So this series is divergent. See, this is my an. If my an is divergent, my bn will diverge. Yes, in this example. Okay. So what will happen? This series will diverge. This series is divergent. Clear? Let's have another example. Suppose my series is n minus 1 divided by n cube plus 1. N minus 1 by n cube plus 1. Here n from 1 to infinity. See here, how will I choose bn? It's just basic. You have to assume yourself. Like हमारे parent लोग जैसे compare किए थे ना और किसी के साथ, ऐसे तुमको ढूंढना पड़ेगा किसी के साथ compare करना है. So this my an means my an is n minus 1 divided by n cube plus 1. Can I write this? This is less than equal to n by n cube plus 1. Yes, n minus 1 is less than n. So we know n cube plus 1 is greater than n cube. So 1 by n cube plus 1 is less than 1 by n cube. Can I write? I can write less than n by n cube. See here, this n by n cube, if I cancel 1 n, then it will remain 1 by n square. See here, by P series test, this series is convergent. Okay, my Bn is convergent. So by comparison test, my An means this series will converge. That means this series is convergent. Hopefully it is clear. Okay, so can I go to the next test? Okay, so my next test is limit comparison test. What is my next test? My next test is limit comparison test. So what we discussed in the last test, we discussed the comparison test, means we compare two tests. Here also the word comparison is there, means we have to assume two series, or we have to yes, we need two series for comparison. And in the previous test, we test only what is the relation between the series. But as the name suggests, it is limit. We have to compare the limit of both the series. Suppose An is one series and Bn is another series. You have to find out limit n tends to infinity An by Bn. So what it will be, depending on this value, you can say my An is convergent or Bn is convergent or divergent. Suppose it is coming any value, suppose L, मान लेता कोई भी एक value आ रहा है which is greater than 0. If it is coming like this na, then An and Bn will sing song. ये दोस्ती हमने ही. I think you get it. So if L is greater than 0, then my An and Bn both will converge or diverge. Both convergent or divergent together. Means if An is converge, then Bn is also converge. If Bn is diverge, N is also diverge. Means whatever it may be convergent, may be divergent, both. दोनों same ही होगा. Suppose it is coming as 0. If this limit of An by Bn is coming 0, then if Bn is convergent, then my An will be convergent. Suppose it is coming as infinity. If Bn is divergent, then only I can say my An is divergent. Just look once, then I will solve some problem based on this. Okay, see here. Suppose my series is limit n tends to infinity 1 by n square minus n plus 1. So like previous test, we only An is given. You have to assume Bn. So what is my An here? My An is 1 by n square minus n plus 1. So you have to assume that Bn. So you have to take an Bn. So how will you take? So see here, if in the N my power of डिनोमिनेटर इज मोर देन पावर ऑफ न्यूमरेटर ऑफ n, मीन जो n का पावर है ना वो अगर डिनोमिनेटर में ज्यादा है न्यूमरेटर से, ऑलवेज कंसीडर bn एज 1/n फॉर्म, 1/n power something. Yes, if my power of n in denominator is more. Yes. So what this number will be? How can you find? Always take the difference between the highest power in denominator and the highest power in numerator. So what is the highest power in denominator of n? It is 2. What is the highest power of n in numerator? It is 0. So it is equal to 2. So you have to take bn as 1/n square. Clear? It is not any rule, but in most of the case you have to take like this. So just find limit n tends to infinity n by bn. So I am going fast. Limit n tends to infinity, n by bn will be n square by n square minus n plus 1. Again put infinity in place of n, you will get infinity by infinity form. Then apply L'Hopital's rule. So this will be 2n divided by 2n minus 1. Again you are getting infinity by infinity. Again differentiate, you are getting 2 by 2 means 1, which is greater than 0. Which is greater than 0. That means both will converge or diverge together. This point. See, this series is convergent. How you know? By P series test. So this series will also converge. Okay. So the given series is convergent. Clear? Sorry. This question is series था ना, summation n1 to infinity. Yes, I mistakenly wrote limit. Okay, let's consider suppose another problem. Suppose my n is 1 by root n into n plus 1. So I am not doing this. Okay, just I am telling what will be bn. You can try yourself. Okay, see here, what is the highest? This is power of n in denominator is more, so you have to assume 1 by n to n form. Yes. See here, what is the highest power in denominator? Here is 1 by 2, here is 1 by 2, means total power 1, means you have to assume bn as 1 by n. Then what you have to do? You have to do limit n tends to infinity an by bn. Okay, just to whatever you will get. Then by if you are getting greater than 0, then if bn is divergent here, so my n will diverge. Okay, so hopefully what I explained today it is clear. So we will see in the next video. तब तक के लिए पढ़ाई करते रहिए. ऑल द वेरी बेस्ट.